Oh, no. So you're still having pain from the back and down on the side through here?
Some, but it's not as bad as it used to be.
Okay, good. So your left side doesn't want to, your core doesn't want to move to the left very easily, and the right is much more easily. Does any of that cause any pain?
A little, you know.
To go this way?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
part of the problem, I didn't fill you in on this. I hit my shoulder when I was hit on my leg.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so hey everyone, it's Kara from the Bridging Institute, and this is Anne, who we met a couple of months ago, and she's back for a follow-up, and we thought we'd check in on what we were working on last time, which we are. There's still some tightness and some soreness up through the core, but she had a little oops, which ended up being a big deal about a month ago, and you ended up with some surgery on your leg. And it was from a fall, right? But she bumped her shoulder. So I have a feeling we just have more to do up at the shoulders and the arms, and let's see how your head is moving. Not too bad. Okay, it doesn't want to turn very easily to the right. So all these things will add up in little ways to cause you that stress when you're on the computer. So when you fell, did you fall forward or to the side?
Actually, I did. It was kind of forward, but to the side.
Okay. So,
and there was an object, to my side, and that's what I hit with my shoulder.
okay, I think.
But it was an object that hit me, so
yeah,
that's what I'm.
So I think I'm just going to keep you sitting up for a little bit while we work, and then I'll
Okay.
check some things before we're done when you're laying down. So. Shoulder, it actually feels kind of jammed, like you did hit it. Did you end up with a bruise?
We didn't see anything. I just knew I hit it, and when I moved it, if I was trying to raise it, I was having trouble.
So the crazy thing that happens is you hit here and it stops. Your head didn't hit anything.
No.
So your head kept going.
Yeah.
So there's an issue between how the muscles between your head and shoulder
Okay.
are connecting together. This side would have gotten compressed and this side would have gotten a little overstretched.
Okay.
So we're just going to hold and add a little wiggle so that we want to reset how these muscles are able to work together, and so they can relax, and then the other side can get their act together again. So I don't know if people at home can see, but there's a little too much moving around her jawline. I'm just barely moving at the shoulder. So that implies to me that it's a little compacted and a little tight. So I'm going to come down and stabilize where I feel too much motion, which is really right at her jawline, and much better. So I'm adding a little motion at her shoulder. If something's tight, we have cords that are pulled too tight. We don't try to pull them. We just very carefully pull a little here, a little there to loosen them up and untangle. Same idea here. I'm not trying to do anything hard, just tiny little motion so that all her muscles can kind of shake loose and be available to figure out how to work together again. There we go. And so now you can see it actually compresses in a whole lot. This is probably about what happened when you fell. Mm-hmm. And hopefully it's there we go, spring open. So one thing that we consistently find when you have an impact injury is that to let that clear, it's more like the child lock or the caps on a bottle where you have to push it in and then turn it. So that is much better. And your core is starting to turn. So whatever the compression up at the top was affecting further down. So the ribs, they have muscles that hold them together. And then also the muscles that connect the pec muscles to your arm and in the back with the shoulder blade. When those get all tight, they actually can have an effect down through the rest of your core.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like if these relax and can start moving better, that it is a trickle down effect. Oh, there. Oh my gosh. How much easier is that? Yeah. Wow. Okay, let's make sure your head knows where to be because it got thrown off. It's kind of like a mini version of a whiplash. There. Oh, that's much easier from right to left. And good. Okay. So overall turning, so this is what was not so easy when we first started, was side to side.
Right.
Yay, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. You notice pain up through your neck and shoulder when you're on the computer. So let's put an arm and let's make sure. Shoulder goes up and down and around. Not sure, you're probably not doing anything that crazy when you're on the computer.
No.
But let's see about this one. Oh, it's not going anywhere. Okay, so there's been some other injuries over the years. Oh, there. Okay, just relaxed. So hopefully you were able to see it just drop. So the muscles on the front and back are just like, there. And then they can relax and go up and around, and everything got a whole lot easier. There. So the last thing we're going to do is actually let Anne lay down, and we want to make sure that how her arms and her core are working together is centered, and then also how her head connects into that is centered as well. Man, this arm is just, shoulder's moving, but this part feels just really tight, not at all like the right side. And are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Okay, so.
But I use this for a lot of things, like dragging things, not dragging, but, when you carry with your left.
But if you're on the computer, because that's what you've said. Okay, so you'll be able to see, I'm checking, let's check the right one because it's better, so you can see our contrast. So we got up and down, and there's side to side, a left and a right, and there's also turning right and left. And each of those motions have a name to them, but her right moves pretty well. The left, up and down, is a little flopsy. Sideways doesn't happen very much. Turning, not at all. Like I'm actually trying to turn your hand.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, you can turn it, but you're going to end up using some other muscles, and that's what's causing the strain.
Yeah.
So with the computer, the motion that comes into play is especially a bunch of forward and back and a little bit of turning to get the reach of where the fingers go up and down. Okay, you don't recall any particular injury to this, do you?
My wrist, I did.
Oh.
I fell on it, and a chiropractor found that a bone was out of place here, and he popped it back in place, and that was it.
Okay, so bone got out of place. The muscles probably got a little shaken up too. So that's maybe why it feels flopsy. It's like the top side muscles are like, hey, what am I supposed to do?
This has been some years ago that I fell on that, yeah.
It still matters. So I'm holding her arm still and letting these muscles stretch out so that they can figure out how to talk to each other. And I'm waiting to feel just a little kind of, not really a snap, but a little bit of a pulse where they kind of wake up.
And I thought I felt it when you let go. But
they have there's a little turn to it. I'm trying to navigate what that is. When we fall, we think of falling straight into something. In reality, there's a twist to it.
Okay.
So, there we go. Ugh. All the way up to your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, there we go. Side to side. And turning.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so I also have a rule of 3. We have to repeat it a few times. Okay. So I'm going to hold. We're going to change it up a little bit. So I'm going to hold up a little bit higher and try to get this wrist to stretch a little bit more. So we're bringing in muscles up through the forearm into play. There. And then they connect up to your shoulder.
Yeah. And I never thought about that fall, affecting anything on this left side.
So what's funny is most of the people that we meet, there's always something that they've forgotten about. So even though we have a pretty detailed information sheet of your history, trust it's the norm rather than the exception, that people remember something else. There. Oh, that feels so much easier, and there's control to it, and there's in and out, and the turn actually feels smoother. Okay. Oh, very nice. All right, now I'm gonna match up both of them. Oh, the weight and the ease of each one just feels very similar now, because before the whole forearm on this left arm just felt really heavy. And let's make sure how core. Oh, very nice. And then how your head matches. It's just so much smoother than when we started.
Yeah.
So, and I want you to lay down,
Okay.
head over here, because I do want to make sure that
On my back.
on your back, that just everything all matches up. We got it.
And you guys can hear me all right?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to roll you toward me. Beautiful. And I'm going to come around this way and... Okay, so this is the side that we just did a little bit of work to, and I am just going to kind of help guide it into being a little more organized. There we go. And again, rule of 3. And let's recheck this side to make sure that they feel pretty similar. Yes. And check at the shoulders. Let me have each arm. And oh my gosh, so much easier. And I want you to lift your arms up and tell me if they feel like they weigh similar to each other.
Weigh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So that's a typical question that we'll ask people as we're trying to fine tune is do arms or legs feel like they weigh the same? And it has to do with the interconnectedness and how the muscles are supporting the actual weight. And it's something that we can feel a little bit, but since they belong to you, you can tell even better than we can. So let's see if shoulders move. Yes, and let's see what your head's doing. You know what? Your head is tipped to the left. So let's hold it, and it wants to just melt to the left. She's had a couple of surgeries in her past, so I wonder if there's a piece of having her head positioned to the left for breathing. And so we just hold, and you can feel inside things are just sort of trickling through because they're supported and they can let go of how they were stuck. And there. So back to the left, back to the right. That's more, does that feel more centered to you? Mm-hmm. Okay. And now her head turns to the right. Okay. I am going to let you sit up. So come on up and just sit. And I'm going to sit next to you. So just a quick recap. Although Anne was coming in for a follow-up, a couple things happened. She was still having some of the tightness through the left side of the neck and back and around through her core. And we found a couple things came into play. One was the way that she fell and landed on her shoulder. It compressed all the relationships in the neck. But then we found something that she forgot about that seemed to be playing a role, was how she fell many years ago, landing on her wrist, and that kind of checked out some of the wrist muscle interactions, and then that had an effect all the way up the left side. Right. So in the show notes, you can see how to get in touch with us if you're interested in learning more about the bridging technique, if you're interested in being a volunteer to come and be a guest for our sessions, or if you would just like to come to the office and see if we're able to help you with your pain or coordination concerns. So give us a thumbs up so we can keep bringing you more interesting episodes like this, and subscribe to the channel. And Anne, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you.